Oops. All right, Jenny. How are you, pal?
Hey, I'm good, Sareth. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, my friend. I'm updating this banner because I put uh your with the side of podcast twice. So and
Side of podcast.
or with the side of chaos.
Chaos with a side of podcast.
Yeah, indeed. So Jenny, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Fantastic.
It was fun getting here and first getting to hear all of you young men chat about bands I've never heard of.
Fantastic. There's some bands that I didn't know until I put in my credentials because I had to have my buddies listen to more music than I did, and they're like, "Should I cover this band?" And they're like, "Yeah, put in your credentials and see if they say yes." I'm like, "Yep, they said yes." So I'm like, I don't know any of these songs. I like Neurosis, for example. I didn't know who they were, and I'm like, sure. And they had the whole stage completely blacked out, so we couldn't take photos of them. But I tried my best anyways, and they're like, you can't use flash either. But I got to see Danny Carey from Tool there, so that was cool.
Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, those are some probably another band you didn't even know.
Tool, I like Tool.
Oh,
I actually know
fantastic!
who they are. Yes.
Also, so many lasers and lights there on that show. So, Jenny, you're a local author, and we did a storytelling show a couple of months back. So, what's the name of your book? It's Deep Green.
This book is called Deep Green. Yes.
Tell us all about it.
It is about how do we stop ourselves from trashing the planet and going extinct. It's like, okay, but you can't because we're each only one person. So how can each person do one person's worth of trying to stop humans from trashing the planet and making our own selves go extinct?
Exactly.
It's like some people are thinking, oh, when the zombie apocalypse arrives, the zombie apocalypse is here.
Yep, because everyone's on their phone and not looking anywhere.
Oh, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I saw the real proof of the zombie apocalypse is that in the middle of the highway, like in the middle of the A1A or in the middle of a road, we make landscaping in the middle. But if we were smart humans, there'd be trees like making shade over the road. But instead, we make miniature lawns in the middle of the highway. And then people have to go out and mow those lawns that are in the middle of the highway. And guys with weed whackers and leaf blowers have to be out there too. That is proof positive that we have just pretty much hit the pinnacle of human intelligence and we're pretty much toast.
Pretty much, I'd say. I remember reading a book when I was a kid, and there was a guy that would litter, and the litter would be stuck to him. Do you remember that book?
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a fellow activist who wore trash on his body to demonstrate that the average American discards something like 10 pounds of trash per day. So he wore 10 pounds of trash on his body, and he would stand around in Manhattan, and people would ask, "Hey, what's your deal?" And he'd say, "I'm wearing my trash." And it was really cool because people got it. Like, oh wow, this is a demonstration of how much stuff that we throw away, how much gets produced in factories that we then throw away, except away means under the ocean to kill a bunch of wildlife and become tiny particles that then get back into our digestive systems and even get up to the top of Mount Everest.
Indeed. Yeah, it's pretty sad how everyone's they don't want to, and people that throw their cigarette butts out the windows and stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's problematic.
Yep.
But the thing is, when you talk really seriously about it and try to tell people that there's a problem, they pretty much want to kill you. It's sort of like being a peace activist. How much do people really like peace activists? Hey man, let's have some peace. Let's love our fellow men. You idiot! I'm gonna nobody likes a peace activist. Nobody likes environmentalists. You tree hugger.
Oh, I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to offend you.
Right. But well, and why would anybody? Okay, so the planet is overheating because we just keep consuming freaking everything and it causes a lot of heat in the air, and we're all gonna cook. All right. So why would anybody like a type of organism that's beautiful and green and leafy and actually performs a photosynthetic reaction that sucks heat out of the air? Why would anybody like that? Isn't that convenient? We're generating all this heat, and plants, to make their food from the sun, sunlight particles actually do a reaction that sucks heat out of the air. How convenient is that? And they suck carbon out of the air that we're generating too much of. That's not terrible.
Nope. And it helps produce oxygen, what we need.
Yeah. So why wouldn't somebody want to hug that tree and say, thank you, tree?
I'd hug it, but there's nothing but palm trees in my yard.
So. Well, I'm thinking of a bad joke combining the tree with the mysterious restroom wall where there are holes in the wall.
I've been
a glory tree.
Like a woodpecker is the one that made the hole.
What the woodpecker is this?
Indeed. What their peckers coming out of. We could keep on. That's just wrong. But how many books have you written so far?
This is the only one so far. I have 2 works of fiction incubating, like gestating in my brain. And I wake up one day and I'm one of the fiction characters. And then I'll wake up the next day and I'm the other fiction character. And one thing I don't do is I don't write them down enough. So that's not very effective. So I'm going to try a different strategy called writing it down more often. But I mean, it is kind of fun. But one time I was actually walking around forgetting that the story that I was making up wasn't true. Like, oh, wait, no, I'm not actually the only person left on Earth. Oh, thank God.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But like one of my fiction books is this person ends up being the only person left on Earth. But the only way that she noticed, because she's such an introvert and she just like up in her own head, the only way she noticed that she was the only person left was that she was trying to get some French fries and she couldn't like call any of the delivery services and none of the places were open. And she's like just all mad at everybody. And it takes her a really long time to notice that, no, she's actually the only person left on Earth.
Oh, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to be the last man on Earth. I've seen movies when they're like Will Smith, when he had his dog and those zombie apocalypse or whatever they were.
Mm-hmm.
I would not like to be friends with any of those. And the dog that attacked you, Rocky, I'm sorry.
In the zombie apocalypse movies, there are always dogs. There's always packs of wild dogs.
Indeed. I don't know what kind of dog I'd like to have protect me, but definitely not a Chihuahua, that's for sure.
Chihuahuas are good, actually, because those things those are vicious, man. Chihuahuas can be really vicious.
They can, but they're just too jittery for me.
You could wear one perched on each shoulder.
That's not a bad idea.
You feel like you're twin guardians.
And show me where the nearest Taco Bell is.
Oh, fuck off.
Yo quiero racial stereotype commercials.
Right. I'm so glad the dog's not there anymore. Where's PETA?
Yeah.
When you need him. But yeah, I remember when we had our walk and you showed me like the history of Daytona. Man, that was one of my favorite memories of us. What's how has Daytona evolved? Have they gone more green or what do you think of the city?
I think it's really hard to say because if you keep cutting down trees without planting new ones, then it's going to gradually be getting less green. And so that's kind of ends up being what happens. So I don't know. I can't really say for sure. I like to think people are becoming more informed, but I don't know.
Indeed. I love your yard and it's just naturally, you let it naturally grow, which is fantastic. And what made you go that route instead of putting a lawn in or AstroTurf on?
Well, I'm lazy. I'm just really lazy. And when I was a child, there was nothing I hated more than yard work. I thought it was the most obnoxious, stupid thing ever. To go out and try to make the bunch of bushes be square and cut this grass that would just keep growing. I just thought that was a really bad invention and it sucked. And I thought, all right, when I grow up, I'm going to live in a place where there's no plants anywhere near me. And I think I originally thought I was going to live in just the heart of a really big city like DC or New York, and that there'd be no plants. But life just takes you in different directions. And I've always really liked food, and I sort of noticed that you can't get any food without growing some food. Most of it like grows in the earth. So I started to get interested in farms and, how do they produce food? How do we get our food? So I actually at one point found myself working on a farm and then realized, oh, I'm actually doing a kind of yard work and I don't hate it. Maybe it's because I'm doing something useful. Now, did you ever hear, like in some of my classes that I took about ecology and permaculture, we heard about the origins of where does a lawn come from? Like, how did the concept of a lawn start? And it was way before the $3 billion industry that it is today or whatever. Back in like in like the 1700s or the 1800s, the French or English nobility grew these big wide lawns as proof of how rich they were, that they could afford to devote all this land to nothing that fed people because they were so rich. But you know what though, these were not good business people. You know that like the Anglo-European monarchy is not good business people. They just stole stuff from people. So they probably just stole somebody's land. So them saying they could afford to have land like that they weren't growing food on was just code for, well, we stole this guy's land, we stole this other guy's land, and then we enslaved a bunch of people to grow stuff for us. But anyway, the narrative was, well, we're so rich, we can afford to have this big wide swath of grass and have, some minion be cutting the grass. And so fast forward to modern day America, all of us are basically just lawn lackeys. And that's just, if you think about every yard that you've seen, if we were growing food on all those yards, like everywhere around the city, there'd be a lot of fresh, really nice fresh food around. And, it doesn't get stuck on cargo ships because it's growing right in your front yard. So that's how I got interested in having like a yard with flowers and herbs and vegetables and fruits instead of a lawn.
I wish my parents had my mom has like a green thumb, so she's growing all that stuff. But
Yeah.
The yard's so big that it's just like we just hire people to mow it for us. Mm-hmm. But when I remember like my worst nightmare was mowing a lawn on a hangover.
Totally.
It was like the first time I ever got drunk, and it was like the worst. There was a house party at my sister threw that my parents didn't know about, and I had to mow the lawn because they were coming back that afternoon. Oh. And it was like 12 in the afternoon. It was hot as all get out, and I had to mow it. And I was like, "This is the worst hangover ever." And that's when I stopped drinking.
Yep. That's not a bad reason to stop drinking.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what are you drinking? You're drinking something.
I'm drinking another ginger beer. Krabby's. It's Krabby's original ginger beer. This is a word from our sponsor, Krabby's ginger beer.
Indeed.
It's delectable.
I'm going to probably get like my ginger ale from the bar here after in a little bit. I usually get one on the way out because it keeps me awake on the way home. Get the sugar in me.
Yeah.
Be like Trick Daddy, put that sugar on my tongue.
But one thing I also want to give a plug for is being lazy. Nobody should do any unnecessary work. One of my teachers taught us that unnecessary work is a form of pollution. Just think about it. We all have work to do, right? And most of us are into our creative stuff. So we have to like have enough energy left over from our day to be able to think and do and have creative thoughts, right?
Yep.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Exactly.
So in everyday American life, we get super caught up. We have to work just to get enough to pay the rent and just to get some groceries or whatever. And then no free time and all that. So we have to eliminate all the unnecessary work from our lives, including mowing grass that shouldn't be there anyway. Get some really tall grass. Those really tall grasses that grow by the ocean or grow on the prairie.
Oh, yeah.
They're tall already. They're born to be tall. They are naturally tall. They're not designed to be mowed. So you just leave them and they do their thing.
Indeed, unless you live in Palm Coast and the HOA gets on you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And HOAs, that's another example of unnecessary work. Those people need hobbies. They don't have hobbies. So they become like the despots of HOAs, like dictating, like this guy hasn't pressure washed the underside of his SUV this week, so we're going to fine him $500 a day. And then this other person isn't spraying the right types of chemicals to make their yard the same color of green as the guy next door. So all these people need better hobbies.
I think they should do stand up.
They should do stand up, and they and for them would be like actually eating a D would be being funny by mistake. but they would be funny without trying, so we could get our laughs, and then they would have a different hobby.
Absolutely. Yep, go fishing. We're right next to the ocean.
Go fishing. Like all these people come down here, oh, we're going to retire in paradise. And what's the first thing they do? They get a really big, loud leaf blower and they start chasing one leaf around their driveway.
Unreal.
Like, think of all the fossil fuels. Apparently, this is something I read. To run a leaf blower for like an hour, it's the same as driving an SUV all the way to Alaska or something. It has like the ridiculous carbon footprint because of the type of engine, the 2-stroke engine of a leaf blower or other lawn appliance. They are inefficient. So not only the person using them has to be spending all this time working unnecessarily, but also they're burning a lot of fossil fuels.
Those jerks. And that's why I drive a Honda. It's not sponsored, but I got 600 miles or something on a full tank.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hondas are good. Hondas are good. I have a small Honda motorcycle, a Rebel 250, and it gets 50 miles per gallon.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I love Rebels. Inspector Deck is a Rebel INS. And my Canon T3 is a Rebel too. T3i. Just got a T3i. But it was like the closest thing to my old T3. That's the thing that I used to shoot my concert photos with.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Oh, man. But yeah, those 2-stroke bastards with their SUVs.
Right.
I'm too tiny to drive one of those big. Do you guys drive SUVs?
I drive a Nissan Versa.
Oh, that's a small and nice compact car.
And I'm a big dude, and it's so roomy inside. I freaking love it.
Indeed, I love it too. My Honda's had a really big trunk inside of it.
So speaking of cars, back in World War II, they had all these posters to add, public awareness campaigns to get people to save energy for the war effort. So there's this one poster, and it would showed a person by themselves in a car, and it would say, if you drive alone, you're riding with Hitler. Because it was don't waste gas, carpool, or save on trips or whatever. So anytime we burn gas unnecessarily, we're supporting some tyrant that we don't want to support. So yeah, if we can share rides or be really lazy and avoid certain trips entirely. How many of us go to some place or some meeting that we don't really want to go to sometimes? If we just cut out the ones we don't want to go to, think how much fossil fuels that would save.
Yep, just do it on.
You support Hitler. That's basically what it sounds like right here.
That's right.
God damn, I don't want to cut my lawn anymore.
That's right, man. Let it grow. Free.
Me as a Mexican.
Oh yeah. Actually, you know what I keep telling the landscaping services that the landscaping has become all about cutting grass. But what we really need is high level. We need fruit trees. We need people who know how to grow fruit trees and take care of fruit trees and vegetables, high level, added value services.
We need more Mexicans. I love it.
Right? I'm hey, I tell people, I said, do you see that gentleman who's mowing your yard? That guy knows how to grow something useful. So why don't you pay him really good money to grow pineapples and really beautiful things in your yard that you can then eat, right?
Yep.
Orale.
Yeah.
Indeed. We get these really big California avocados shipped. I'm I didn't know avocados grew that big.
Oh, man.
Yep.
They probably inject them with something.
I hope not. They were naturally from, where they get them from, but I
There's
hope
California avocados and lots of really good avocados from Mexico. And then in Florida, we have all different types of avocados here too, but we're kind of lazy. We've gotten lazy, even though we could grow them. We're kind of like, well, they grow in Mexico already, and they grow in California already, so we don't have to.
They should. Well,
we should.
Maybe
We could be surrounded. This place could be infested with avocados, bananas. I actually got some bananas this year in my banana trees in my yard for the first time.
Wow.
Had real bananas. Yes.
Indeed. Those are some good stuff.
Good stuff. And pineapples. If you ever had a pineapple grown at home, if you get a pineapple from the store, you cut the top off. And if you plant that top in the soil, it'll grow a new pineapple. It takes a long time. It takes like 18 months or something. But you get a new pineapple. And they're really sweet when they're grown at your own house. They're perfectly ripe and sweet if the possums and raccoons don't get them first before you get them.
You know how you protect your pineapple from those animals?
Nuclear weapons.
No, you just put SpongeBob SquarePants around them.
Oh my God.
I just watched a few seasons of SpongeBob, so I know he lives in one of those pineapples.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so here's another thing that's crazy. Like, all right, so in the United States, we decided, we're really cool, we're really prosperous. We don't have to do any kind of like farm work or anymore. We can just let other people do that. And so we don't do as much physical labor anymore. So we get really kind of out of shape, right? So then we pay money to go to a gym to get in shape, like to go artificially burn calories and get in shape. And meanwhile, there's all this work that just naturally needs to get done that keeps people in shape.
Good stuff. Oh, man. I need to go to the gym and get in shape.
Or just start.
Yeah, I saw how fluffy I was on camera the other day.
Round shape. You're in shape.
Oh, okay. And
Well, and also there's also a certain amount of fat storage that needs to happen, because when the full-on zombie apocalypse is upon us, those of us who've stored at least a little bit of adipose tissue will be at the advantage. Yeah. No twigs in the zombie apocalypse. Of course, the good thing about being a twig is that no one will think that you look delicious, like with barbecue sauce. So you could be so there's like a happy medium. You don't want to be, too succulent looking, but you don't want to be too twiggy, because then you won't have enough fat to survive,
That's true. I claimed myself as cuddly.
Cuddly, yes.
Yeah, I'm just like right in the. But yeah, I went to like the doctor, like with a couple months apart, and I turned out that I just had like 26 pounds gained. And I'm like, man, that's not bad. I mean, I'm still under 200, but I need to go back to like 170 or something. Who knows?
We live in a country where snacks just like jump out at us. Like snacks are everywhere.
That's the truth.
They pounce on you. There's like everywhere. They're lurking. Cheese nips, little things of ice cream and stuff.
Hostess ding dongs.
That's the stuff. That's a Sereth callback. All of you Sereth fans.
You can't say that without giving us ding dongs.
Yeah, that's so true. And they need to sponsor me, dang it. I talk about Hostess Ding Dongs on stage all the time. I don't want to say it on the podcast because it's not appropriate. I'll wait till with the side of chaos.
Chaos with the side of podcasts.
Yeah.
With the side of podcast ding dong. There you go.
Yeah. Oh man. So what else is in your world, Jenny? Do you go to local I saw a picture of you on a panel on your LinkedIn. Where was that from?
I don't know. I was probably talking at a city commission meeting, trying to get people interested in planting some more trees. I think that's probably what was going on in there. So yeah, I go to some city commission meetings and talk during the citizen comment time. And then I go to, there's actually a citizens, a board in the city called Beautification Tree Advisory Board. So I try to tell people okay, these are some really good trees that we should be planting and not cutting down, and that kind of thing, and trying to get people to expand their standard of beauty, so that, because people want to make these really flat landscapes that's just a flat buzz cut lawn, whereas if we make it really puffy, it'll be better. It'll absorb the stormwater better. It'll absorb heat better. So I try to get people interested in that stuff. And then another thing, let's see, recently I've actually, there's a new comedy club on Seabreeze, like a jazz and comedy club on Seabreeze.
Oh, I saw that.
I went to that on Saturday night. So they're going to be having open mics on Thursdays. So here we have open mic here on Wednesdays, and then they're going to have open mics on Thursdays. And their open mic is going to include poetry, music, and comedy.
Oh, nice.
So anyone looking for an open mic on Thursdays, that is going to be happening.
Hopefully they like my style, because not a lot of people do. It's just real and raw and raunchy.
Real, raw, and raunchy.
Yeah, they can't handle the truth. But I'll give that room a try and see what happens. But I saw it and they needed a DJ, and I'm like, I'll be the nOg's permanent DJ for a little while. DJ Sticky Angel.
Yeah. Somewhere else.
Shout out to Andre for giving me the nickname.
Hey, Andre.
Yeah, Andre Dolan.
I wonder if anyone's listening from their comfort of their own living rooms.
Not yet. There's no eyeballs on the thing yet, but they'll probably watch it later on. That's what usually happens.
Probably.
It's late at night on a Monday.
They probably just don't want us to think that they're stalking us or something. They're probably just trying to be discreet.
Yep. And I just tell them, hey, jump in the comments section. We'll interact with you, but be nice to us.
Be nice. Be nice.
Yep. I say that to everyone when we were all quarantined and we had to socially distance, and I just cranked out some interviews from home. So I just interviewed comics from coast to coast.
Cool.
Yep. I used to interview a lot of comics here in town.
I know. Probably most of us that have ever been in this room have probably gotten to be on one of your cameos.
Yep. On my documentary. I haven't interviewed Rocky yet, but I got to interview James and Aaron and you for my documentary /special.
Not even a comic. I got interviewed.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Rocky seen me do stand-up, so I'll interview you. It's like a quick 30-second to 1 minute, and I'll add you to it.
Man. I'm excited about it.
Heck yeah, dude. It's going to be a lot of fun. And so where can the audience find you online and on social media, Jenny?
Well, on Facebook, I'm Jenny Nazak. And then I have a Facebook page for my book called Deep Green Book by Jenny Nazak. And I try to post news items that are relevant that can help people get started with helping to try not to let humans go extinct.
Following already.
Yay! And then I've got my blog, jennynazak.com.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Be sure to give it a thumbs up and a like and a comment on
Thank you so much.
all those blogs.
I think I recently jumped to 8 followers.
Oh, congrats.
Yes, I was, stuck at 7 for a long time, but I think I have 8 followers now.
Awesome.
And my Facebook page I've been meeting more people on Facebook, and there's a lot of groups and people who don't know about each other online, but if we find out about each other, we'll have a lot more power and be able to oppose a lot of the bad stuff we see in the world that we don't want to participate in.
That's for sure. There's a lot of things in this world that are bad that I don't want to partake in. Right.
And we just want more energy to partake in the good stuff, right?
Yep. And that's why I created Pods at the Nog.
Pods at the Nog.
Pods at the Nog.
Yep. Shout out to Randy for saying Karen and I wish Pubcast too, and just doing this once a month, and we're gonna bring back with the side of chaos onto the stage here, and we're gonna have coming up next month is Tidbits with Steve Etchie and Leslie Joe. In April, we're gonna have Buff Bagwell from WCW and the NWO.
Shut up.
Yep.
No way. Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. So coming up next,
shows are fucking cool, man.
I love Buff Bagwell.
Heck yeah, dude, he's the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Just like the hostess Ding
It's
Dong.
like the hostess Ding Dong.
That's right. Awesome stuff. Give it up for Jenny Nazak.
Woo!
Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Give it up for James,
Yeah.
the Chernog Irish Pub. And give it up for these next two gentlemen coming to the stage next. It's Aaron and Rocky from What the Side of Chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds, dude.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yes.
So nice.
You introduce them like strippers.
I know, it's
Go
like-
to the stage.
Yeah.
Fucking
Stick
get
your
ready.
fingers.
They need their music. They need
Get
their,
your dollar
their
bills
whole-
ready.
Oh,
You're
see?
good. You're good.
So you try to step over and I hook up my jacket.
Yeah, you
I
actually
trips on a
hooked on
bug.
your butterflies.
Trips on a bug.
It's one of your Snapdragon things. Yeah.
Right.
Ooh, Snapdragon.
Should we go to your site or should we just keep this rolling?
Just keep it going, bro.
Let's-
Do your thing.
Keep it rolling, baby.
I can share it out. I'll turn the laptop on and then
Okay.
okay. Yeah, I'll just turn it on.
There we go.
Yeah, because now we're official. Now we're working.
Oh yeah, now we do
Now we're working.
it. We back, ladies and
I don't
gentlemen.
even know if I have Wi-Fi, but well, the laptop is up.
Oh, fantastic.
We back, folks. Yeah.
Wow, Jesus Christ!
We
God
back.
damn it. All right,
James might
I
be
guess
able,
we're here now, huh?
James might be able to help you out with the Wi-Fi if you need it.
James, is it an easy password to scream?
It's Riley's Balls 01.
Okay, Riley's with a comma or just no?
All together. Riley's Balls 01.
Got it. All right.
Riley's Ball 01 is the.
Randy's old dog is dead.
Oh,
It's been a password since we've had Wi-Fi, I think.
we're back to dead dogs. All right.
Thanks for the light, Patricio.
Woo.
Woot woot. All right, I can't log into my own computer. Fucking weed.
Have at it, buddy.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So, Rocky, you were approached by Jessica to do this podcast.
Yes,
at the very
so-
beginning. Tell me more. Tell me more. Just like
So,
Grease.
When the Side of Chaos started off as a dark conversation one cool September night at Universal Studios. I was a scare actor. She was a makeup artist. And I kept going to her because she did my makeup so well. And that year I was zombie Michael Jackson.
Oh,
And yeah, 6'2" Mexican being zombie Michael Jackson. It's a great combination, Universal casting. But our conversations were so dark. I'm like, yo, we should freaking do a podcast. And she's like, while she's, spraying my face, I'm down. And a few weeks later, we got our equipment ready and we recorded our first episode at Sloppy Taco, and it was a freaking disaster.
wow.
Our set, we decided to do our very first episode as a live show, which was the worst idea ever. And yeah, we after that we learned our mistake. We started recording in-house, and we just doing our thing. And our first like big show that we actually had, we sat down with Jack Bradshaw, the production manager for Real Radio 104.1.
Mike's go out.
And did they?
Oh, it's probably I just turned mine on and off.
How's
Start working now.
oh
Check.
check
Check.
check.
Nothing.
check.
Okay,
I'm in
that was me.
Tokyo.
That was me. Check the audio. Check.
There
Good.
it is.
All right.
Thanks,
I knew it. I shouldn't have opened the laptop.
And just with that interview, we were able to we started getting recognized. And first year out, we got the nomination for Best Local Podcast by Orlando Weekly, and we've been nominated 3 years in a row by the great citizens of Orlando.
Bots. We hire bots.
Yeah, we hire bots. No, we don't. Fuck off.
Yeah.
But yeah, over the years, like I've had a couple of different co-hosts on the show, and about a year ago, I finally approached Aaron, who I'd known since I'd been doing podcasting, and I'm like, bro, I'd love for you to be my co-host. And he was like, fuck it, let's do it. And we've been doing Chaos together for a little bit over a year now. you and I.
Yeah. It's been a whole year now. I can't believe it. Like time flies because we started in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And it was very unusual circumstances for us to get together and actually do it. It was very odd because we never actually sat across the table from each other.
Never.
I think one bootleg episode for another show we
Yeah.
did, and that was more or less we were doing that to appease our friends for their silliness, and we ended up having a pretty good like discussion back and forth.
And the thing was, right when I brought Aaron on board, I already had a second mic. Jess came on board. We had a great time, but then we brought in a third mic, Billy, who I love those guys to death, but we came to a crossroad where we didn't see eye to eye in the way the show was going, and we just decided to part ways. And I brought this girl Alex, who I worked with at my law firm. She was edgy, she was funny, but then I brought Aaron in as the third mic at that point, and we had a great chemistry.
We steamrolled her
to an extent, to the point where, like he just said, we steamrolled her. And I don't know if it was like just too much pressure on our part. Our show has always been like, we see the envelope, we'll lick it and we'll push it, and we don't like to censor ourselves.
One of the things that I do is within the first 3 minutes of the show, I will break our guest comfort entirely to the point of where they realize that they are not in a safe space.
Yeah,
we did it. We did it this past Tuesday with a pretty well-known comic in our area, and his face and their face at the same time when I said just a word, and it was a trigger word, I'm not going to say it here, their jaws just dropped because they couldn't believe that we were just having like this most simple, non-threatening style situation conversation. And I said, no, this is a place where people say things that are uncomfortable. And we made it to the point where you could talk about anything. People always are reserved until somebody says something they're not supposed to.
We had an episode where we wanted to cancel God.
Yeah.
And we had an episode where we purposefully tried to cancel ourselves. We offended so many people on that episode. But here's the thing.
I don't even remember. Did I do good?
You were there.
I was there. What did I do? What did I do?
Dude, I think you must have gone insane when it came to crypto and neo-Nazism.
Was I pro neo-Nazi?
You were pro something. I don't know if it was the crypto or the neo-Nazism.
Okay. All right. Either way, that's probably an accurate. That's a very stoned me. That's my hobbies coming together at one moment.
But yeah, no, that was that's the banter that we bring on Chaos.
But for context, I like World War II documentaries, not neo-Nazism. Okay, I want to put that into context because I don't want that of anything to be my canceled moment. Like, I support Nazism. Well, clearly,
it was an episode at the NOG where Chaos got canceled. Thank you so
Aaron
much.
Supports Nazis. No, I like documentaries and color. It's.
But we've got to do some besides offend people. We've actually done a lot of good in the community because I've teamed up with my law firm. Shout out to the law office of Aaron Morse. We handle family law, but she hired me just because I did podcasting. I thought she was bringing me on as paralegal, but she brought me on to do her marketing. And with her, we've been able to do school supply drives, toy drives. We've teamed up with other businesses and comics, all this other great stuff. And the chaos with the side of Chaos has been able to sit down with some pretty cool people throughout Central Florida. And I think it was right at 2020 where we did an election episode.
Oh God!
And we went.
Are we doing that again? Because I don't. Yes. I do not want to have.
We need to right the wrongs.
Do we need to do midterms? Because I really don't give a shit about Lindsey Graham's re-election party in Kentucky or wherever the fuck that bitch is from.
We did an election episode.
That's fine. It's fine. He's a piece of shit.
And we talked to over 35 people, virtually, TV, radio, music, all over the place. And we also got to get a special message from former President Bill Clinton to push the vote, and it was one of our most popular episodes. We got recognized by TV, newspapers, and it helped out the show a lot because they were like, yeah, we bring the chaos, but at the same time we like to put a magnifying glass on the things that get forgotten throughout your normal routine.
Most definitely. And it's pretty awesome that you get like all walks of life to be on your show and shining the light on like whether in their politics or music or comedians. And I know
it's beyond that. It's beyond that art form that I normally I wouldn't interrupt you, Sarath, but it goes into the guests on our show are the most diverse group of people I have ever engaged with. We have people like one of our close friends who is in the business, you know what I mean, in the porn industry. Oh. He's in that, and he's a personal friend of both of us. If you would have met him outside of work and inside of work, you wouldn't know that's the same person.
Wow.
But he's been on our show, and we've talked about him, and he's just talked about wild other things as well on our show too.
Oh, yeah.
And I like he's more of an entertaining person, but we've also had someone who tried to give Melissa, who's coming on the show this week,
Yes.
psychoanalyze me, told me that I needed a life coach every moment of every day.
Yeah, we've gone from therapists to porn stars to city elected officials to the guy who runs the bar in Thornton Park. And then
I didn't do that one. You did that one.
Yeah, the painter that you find at Lake Eola, and then the Uber driver that I had a great conversation with coming back.
No, we didn't. If you bring in an Uber driver, I fucking quit. I do not care what Jose's opinion is on Craig.
Craigslist.
Craigslist.
It's fine.
Ads.
It's
Craigslist ads. Thank you for finishing my joke.
But yeah, I'm sorry he interrupted. Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. And I gotta listen to I listen only to the comedians' interviews, like Jake's.
Yeah.
And I love the way that you have it set up, like the way your cameras are. Like I'm just like, how do you do that with like all those multiple cameras and like it just like picks and how do you do that? That's just amazing.
We run
teamwork.
off of teamwork and a tripod that holds one phone and
now two phones because I like how it looks. I want to see all sides, and now I'm thinking about maybe getting into porn. Tripods lead to porn. It's just that's how porn's made. Tripods.
No, it's I like to give
GoPro.
We try to make our conversations as not only as interactive but like as opening as possible, because when you sit down and you listen to a podcast, sometimes you hear a story. Sometimes they're telling you the facts and history behind the murder that happened in Georgetown on the cold December night. No, we're having a conversation with a special ed teacher who also works at an art gallery. We're talking to a radio personality who also puts on concert venues throughout Orlando. I mean, throughout South Florida. Or we'll talk to an attorney who's also a podcaster. The range always varies, and I never try to negate from talking to someone, because you might right now you could be walking down the street, whether it's 10 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night, bump into someone, you say excuse me, and you go on. No. Oh, hey, my bad. How you doing today? Start a conversation with someone out of random, and I promise you're going to have a great time right there.
Most definitely. I love that. And for you to wanting to get into porn, I was thinking about going into porn myself and being a director.
I bet your angles would be incredible.
I think so too. I've because how like Hugh Hefner and like Hugh Hefner and from Penthouse.
Yeah.
Larry Flint.
Larry Flint.
They both passed away. I'm like, someone needs to carry on that torch.
Oh, Larry Flint was Hustler.
Oh, Hustler, that's right.
Because that was a good movie, and the
Yeah.
Penthouse one still hasn't been made yet.
Oh, with Courtney Love and Woody Harrelson.
Oh God.
I feel like if I were to do a porn, it'd be something like this. Sorry, I've been wanting to use that horn forever, so I finally got to use it. So F off, everybody.
Hey, your show now has sound effects, Seth. I didn't know if you got that upgrade. This is one night only upgrade.
I need to get invested into like more of my podcast. You're like, this looks really expensive though. Like, did you get it? Like,
so
corporate sponsorship.
That's literally what it is. And I've had this conversation before with other people in my circle where they ask me like, how do you find the time to host a podcast, to produce 3 other shows, to be a paralegal, to host trivia, to once in a while go do stand up with this crazy asshole, and all that shit. I'm like, I like to be out there. I like to look. You are never promised tomorrow. You're never promised your next breath. You're never promised the next day. And when you look at it, and I learned this from my buddy Don Price. He says when someone dies on their gravestone, it says the year that they're born and the year they died. Their entire life, their goals, their achievements, their greatest, their saddest, their happiest moments are all summed up in a little dash. Live your dash.
Yep. Most definitely.
It's very profound.
Yep.
I try to live my dash every day, Bo.
Did you practice that in the car?
Nah, that was all natural, bro.
Yeah, it's good.
Just like
really
these titties.
Yes.
Mine too. I'm all cuddly.
Dude, I pay for a
There's
membership
Seraph
to a gym that I haven't gone to in about a month and a half. And now after hearing freaking Jenny's interpretation of the gym. Like, I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna do push-ups in my office from now on.
Indeed.
I'm sorry, Jenny. I'm the worst kind of human that you had to interact with. I am a consumer. I'm a capitalistic piece of shit.
So
we're lackeys of consumerism.
We are lacking.
Have you had a Big Mac? Trust me, it's fucking delicious.
But the burgers at the Daytona tap room are way more delicious.
Oh no, 100%. Anything outside of McDonald's is 100% better. But I'm on a freaking budget. I'm gonna take the 2 for $5 or 2 for $6.
I can tell you've gone to McDonald's recently.
Oh, screw you! You got the metabolism of freaking.
I lost
Ethiopian.
30 pounds this year. So
You
fuck
lost 30 pounds from depression.
COVID. Fuck you. I
gained 30
I didn't
pounds
get
from
to go to
depression.
McDonald's for my supplements, and this is what happened. I came Ryan Gosling again. I'm sorry. It's not my fault.
At one point, we were calling him Thomas Verde, which was the equivalent of Tom Green.
Yeah. Salty Aaron's profile needed a real name, so I put Thomas Verde, which is Tom Green in Spanish-ish.
That's what you remind me of, Tom Green.
Yeah, the more I live life and I watch Tom Green, I'm embarrassed that I am who I am.
He looks like a more successful, healthier Tom Green.
No, Tom Green is doing just fine.
Tom Green is like you and I put together.
Is Tom Green fat now?
Yes, Tom Green is fat.
Okay. All right. Well, I look like a methed out Macaulay Culkin. How does that? Does that work for you? You know?
Well, Macaulay Culkin is methed out.
Sareth, oh, yeah, he already does look methed out. Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting right
So
here.
health
Quick.
supplements? Yeah.
But no, have you seen Macaulay Culkin's brother?
Yes. In Succession?
Yes.
No, okay. We'll talk about this later.
I've never seen that movie, but I remember watching Macaulay in Party Monster.
Yes. That told me it's okay to be a fucking weirdo.
Yep.
That's it. I learned I had to learn this very recently. Like, you've known me for a while, sir, and I'm a pretty weird dude naturally, but realizing that it's okay to be as weird as I am is starting to scare my friends. And I love it. It's like, am I not, like, a year ago I was okay, and now I'm just fucking weird.
Dude, The Pest made me feel okay to be weird.
But John Leguizamo.
Exactly.
He's the one that inspired me to go into stand-up.
Freaking A, look at that.
Yep.
What has John Leguizamo done for you today?
Wasn't he involved in that fantastic mockumentary about the day that the Mexicans disappeared in Southern California? What was that mockumentary?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't John Leguizamo in that?
He did that comedy special. They played a bunch of like Spanish words.
Yeah.
Oh, the history of Latin culture or something like that.
Yeah, I watched some of that, and I got it confused with this mockumentary that had what would happen if California lost all its Mexicans for
I thought you were talking about Ice Age for a second, which is
no,
basically the same damn thing.
Shut up. No, what if all the Mexicans in Southern California all disappeared?
Then Jenny's
that's the whole point. That's
Jenny's
the whole point.
idea of a paradise where nothing gets cut and everything just grows would happen. You pull the Mexicans out of the equation, bro. Who's gonna cut your poodle's toenails? Who's gonna pick your vegetables? Who's gonna trim your lawn? Who's gonna paint your house? Who's gonna redo your
It goes deeper than
siding.
that. It goes deeper than that. Because there's a lot of things influenced by the culture down there. Because it is so close to Mexico, there is a lot of their culture that overextends itself from Juarez and the other places on that side of town. Like, obviously, I could go into a joke right now, but if you look at it, there's more new Chex Mix flavor fusion fucktown bullshit all over LA, over transgressing itself over different restaurants. Like, you have Asian mixing with Spanish food and everything, and everything's fusion now. So if you take all the Mexicans away, you just have shitty Italian food and fucking hearth bread.
We were serious. If they built that wall, we're taking away Cinco de Mayo.
Oh.
There is no wall. It's a barbecue fucking thing that a Texan holds to pride and calls it a wall.
Roll Tide.
It's not Alabama. It's not Alabama. God damn it, man. Chicago's system failed you too. Jesus Christ.
All right. Sorry, giving you back your show. We're sorry.
Okay, this is us.
You're fine. So Rocky, you're from Chicago too?
I am originally from Chicago. Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. So you've been to Cabrini Green too?
Oh, definitely. No, I've been all
Duck on the bus, kids. We're going to the Technicolor Dreamcoat show in South Broadway. but we gotta drive through the hood. Lower your heads through the black community is what they told us in the fucking bus.
Oh yeah, no,
It's
it
not
was
a
for
lie.
real because
It
like
is a true
you're
statement.
driving. This is what it feels like to live in Chicago. You got this. You got that. You got. That is all.
That's me.
Chicago
That's me in
summed
the
up,
end.
Literally.
I'm the guy with a Czech guy who's got Coke, and all of a sudden a Polish guy comes in, and then there's parties, and then bring
you
a
have an Asian
gunshot
guy
back.
coming. You got an Asian guy coming in going with this shit.
Emotional damage.
Sorry, I had to play that one.
That
All
would
right.
be me.
Yeah. Sareth comes into the Club Excalibur on a Friday night holding a bottle of whiskey he's going to give away for free because he doesn't drink, because he wants some ladies around him. And then the music starts going, and I'm the guy over there with the cocaine and the Polish guy, and we're going to go have fun. And this is the end of my story.
And Party Boy appears.
Yeah, sorry.
Cardi B becomes relevant in 1999 for some reason, because that's the only relevancy I can give that woman. She was probably in the club and ripping me off.
So to answer your question, yes, I am from Chicago.
Very cool. I performed at the Annoyance Theater and the Red Line Tap.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Yeah, they were great.
What was your drinking hole?
Well, here's the thing. I used to go to the Golden Q right there on Montrose. I was never into the big downtown scene. I like to stay at local bars and the Golden Q on Montrose and Spalding on the north side.
I can't even remember where the fuck the Spalding is. But you said you performed at the
Annoyance Theater and the Red Line Tap.
I don't know Blind Tap. I think that might have been before my time. I mean, after my time, because I left there in, I think, 99.
Yeah.
2002, 99, somewhere in there. So it's been a minute.
I had my first beer at 12 at a freaking pool hall.
Yeah, I went and performed like 3 or 4 years ago. So.
Oh, you definitely have seen the most recently updated things. I don't even know if Chicago still has trains. I know they do, but I haven't. I know they have a pink lane, and I know that's donated to Breast Cancer Awareness Year.
And it drops you off in Chinatown.
And they still have.
Does it really?
No, I don't just playing with you.
Well,
they still have CM Punk and Billy Corgan.
Was that on this show or the previous show? I don't know. I can like Billy Corgan this show. I mean, that was for comedy, right?
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm so
Let's pull back. All
right.
Yeah. Sorry. Please go ahead. Sorry.
On, like we need to.
This is the chaos that we bring.
So we talked about my my saddest and my greatest, or all that good stuff on the last podcast for yours.
Mm-hmm.
So what were yours when it comes to your podcast episodes for both of you?
Which feeling?
Saddest. We'll start with sad.
God.
Let's go Eeyore.
God.
You want to go first or should I?
Sure. All right. We have in the community in the last 2 years lost 2 dynamic, great performers that I have personally worked hands-on with. So the saddest is not seeing your friends every Wednesday and Thursday like you used to. It's fucking heartbreaking when you honestly look at it that way. That's the honest truth about it, is you communicate with someone every single day. And then you realize the last things you said on the last show that you do. And no matter how aggressively awful your characters are, you have to be proud of what you did. You know what I mean? Because that is the final statement of how things go. And that it's a eulogy in disgust, because that was, I know that's weird. That's very coded, huh?
No.
Is that very coded? I don't know how to say it.
You took away the fire from the one that I was going to say. And yeah, it was basically the same thing. We lost a friend in 2 friends in common. But the one that hit me the most was I had talked to the first one who had passed away. I talked to him literally 30 minutes before he passed.
Wow.
And the conversation was, he was ready to join the Chaos Network. We were going to rebuild his brand. We were going to give him more creative control over his art. And he was excited. We hugged it out. We said goodbye and we said, hey, I can't wait to work with you. But unfortunately, it was his time to punch out. And it was a week and a half of torture, because we didn't know if he was alive, if he was dead. And it was the worst week and a half, because we didn't know what was going on with our friend. And then when we finally did, it was just like, I hate to say it was a relief because we knew he was at peace, but it was more painful because we knew he was gone.
There's these quarantine years, as I call them, have been very eye-opening nonetheless. No matter if what we've been told is true or not, about everything, it's really it made us take a longer look inside every single one of us, and loss during this time is even harder because you do have that extended amount of time where you have to really inner reflect and all that shit. And I know that's not funny and stuff like that, but the truth is that is the reality of what is happening, at least in the saddest. I know that's dark as shit.
And the bells are ringing.
Yeah.
The bells are ringing.
To whom the bell tolls, and Metallica starts blasting out speakers, and then somebody comes, because that's the way comedy is, like, out of the sadness, though, we've gotten funnier. We've tried to rise above and continue in the notions of what those people were stood for and wanted to do.
Definitely.
And without being uber personal about it, I see their losses, growing to whatever we actually take for granted and then push harder, because we diddly squat for too long.
Yeah, and
that concept.
And from the darkness and mourning, we bring celebration of life, and we were able to reconnect with friends and colleagues that we hadn't talked to in forever. And now, like you said, it gave us some material. We got funnier, and we just have more drive when it comes to like the development of our podcast.
There was a lot of serious talks, like right after after the second passing, we actually sat down and decided, like, is this what we want to do?
Yeah,
and,
we
like,
questioned.
We really like, are we going to keep bullshitting and being like, are we going to be like are we actually going to do something? Are we going to try to achieve what we set out to do all those years ago, but basically have bullshitted all the theatrics behind it? You know what I mean? What you got a gig down on Friday that doesn't pay. Is it meaningful? Is it not? So we really decided, are we going to make a business out of this? Are we really going to take the step? And I guess we finally decided that around that time when we had lost somebody, that we either need to step up or quit. Yeah, that was honestly, because it's either bullshit or it's not. If you care about it or you don't, and that was honest truth. So there's a lot of time to waste, a lot of time away from families and shit like that. So you got to take a choice, and that's the reality about podcasting. Treat it as a business rather than some kind of, there's a lot of hobbyists who do podcasting, and I appreciate them. They're amazing. But people who commit to like doing this for a living, it sucks. It's really not as fun as everybody makes it out to be. Like, we're going to do a lot of fun stuff in the next few months, and I really hope chili makes my butt burn, but it has been a hell to get to that point.
Yeah.
It has not been anything but a struggle.
No, it's just a love for the art.
Sucking D's for business cards, baby.
D's for business cards, baby.
There you go.
I love it. And I started this show. I'm sorry to derail the conversation, but I started this show because I had hit a level of depression that I was almost suicidal. And I took the tool that is podcasting, and it helped me see the world in a different way. And podcasting saved my life.
I feel you on that one. When it was like, and you mentioned that, it was when you two linked, it was like in the middle of the pandemic, and that's like when I couldn't see my friends for a little while, and I was like trying to grab onto like, I need some human interaction. That's what I did from home. Was like, since I can't be with you in person interviewing you, I'm just gonna live stream it. And thanks to StreamYard, because that's what we both use.
Right.
Yeah,
we all gained a new skill with all of what this was.
I learned how to use this.
Yeah.
He learned how to use this. I literally had to. I'm a dad. So I can't be doing silly, weird shit all the time on instruments and everything like that, like I used to, So I would have to tell jokes in the bathroom and figure out how to wire gear when no one was around and when there was no gear. Like, I learned how to be an audio fucking guru because I had nothing else to do.
Wow.
We couldn't even meet up for 3.5 months. I couldn't meet up with my either podcast. I don't think we started until like halfway through 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah, dude, and that's the thing, because like you have to be able to produce content constantly, consistently, because if you have an audience, you have to keep it and you have to feed them. And I'm not gonna lie, producing a podcast, I mean, I produce 3 different shows, and
I do audio editing for none of them, even though that is my forte. I will not do it ever unless it's mine.
Indeed. That's
I
why
love it, but no.
that's why I was like live streaming straight to my YouTube. I'm done editing. I'm just like, this is take it how you like it, and I'm done with it. And I'm like, it's free. I'm just gonna launch it onto my website. And there's like no pressure. You mentioned you did 3 shows. What are the other 2?
So the other 2 is As the Road Returns, which is a first responders podcast that gives an interesting perspective from their side, whether it's police officers, firefighters, or paramedics, 911 dispatchers. They give their side of the story. They give their point of view, and they're educational because they own a company that gives extensive training to paramedics and first responders. And then the other one is called Legal Morse of Action, which is a legal podcast centered around attorney Aaron Morse. And we try to put a comedic spin on the legal world, because family law is one of the most depressing fields of law that you have to deal with. And it's not the easiest one to deal with as well. So we tend to give as much information as possible, because sometimes going through divorce can be the most difficult thing in your life. Or sometimes you may not have the courage to, pull the trigger and like, you know what, I need to get out of this marriage. I need to be able to see my kids more. I need this out of life, but you don't know how to do it. And that's where we come in, and we're entertaining, we're informative, and we're always there to like just help out the person who, give them the legal knowledge that they need.
That's a lot of work. 3 podcasts for you to.
And he works for a law firm on top of that.
And I work for a law firm, and I host trivia, and once in a while I go to do comedy with him.
Yeah.
Indeed. I need to see your stand up.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. No, he's got the long way to go. He's premise talker right now. So he's like, when we were talking earlier about the Mexicans not being in LA, he's got that. He doesn't have any jokes.
Exactly. A Day Without the Mexicans is basically my stand-up.
Oh.
Yeah. The end statement. And that's it. I love Patricio. His hand-in stand-up is going to need a lot of. We're going to need to take him out to the fields to work for a while to get.
I'll tell you like the opening joke for every single one of my sons. Hi, I'm Patricio. I'm the whitest Mexican you'll ever meet. I love hockey and I can't dance. That's my zinger, because it's truth, and I try to be as honest as possible. Sometimes it bites me in the ass. Sometimes it'll get me a new gig, but I try to be as genuine as possible with people.
Indeed. I'd get called a banana because I'm like the whitest Asian. I'm like yellow on the outside, white on the inside.
You're wearing a yellow hat too.
That's true.
Oh
I'm
my
just pointing out
God.
facts right
I
now.
see the banana resemblance.
Yeah.
Are you from Panama?
No.
You have any bananas for me?
Well, there is some in my backyard growing.
Oh,
so.
super. Are they plantains or are they bananas?
I'll go pick them later.
Well, I think.
Did I just get canceled? Was that it? Was that it? Did I get canceled?
Not
okay,
yet.
Cool. Not yet. Okay, shit. Okay,
Yeah.
super.
But I'm bilingual, so that helps. And I'm like the weird Colorado native because I don't snowboard or ski or nothing or drive a Subaru or any of that stuff.
I want a Subaru.
I do too.
I'm a fucking defected white person.
They have the greatest resale value.
No, I just want to imagine that I'm as cool as those people driving through California and North California and drive through the redwoods, and that's where you would always see a Subaru. I've never seen a Subaru anywhere, but
You've never seen a Subaru out in the wild?
Not in the wild. If I drive it, it'll just be next to a strip club in downtown Orlando.
There's the mighty Ford Ranger, gracefully going through I-4 right now.
Sound like okay.
Yeah.
You were talking about eating chili earlier. Where are you all gonna eat chili again?
So we've been invited by Thornton Park to be the guest judges for their first annual chili cook-off. So all the businesses in Thornton Park and other surrounding areas will be meeting the weekend of July 2nd.
In downtown Orlando.
Yeah, in downtown
Orlando.
Orlando.
For contextual, he thinks he's always in downtown. So go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, we're going to be hosting the chili cook-off as their guest judges, and we're going to be teaming with some other people as well. So once we have like the full details, we'll throw you the info, and if you're in town, we'd love to have you try some of this chili.
Fantastic. When you both come to Colorado, because I'm hoping to have you as my podcast for the festival.
Oh, we would love to do that. That'd be amazing.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, Colorado
Fuck
and
yeah.
podcast?
You
I'm going to be Rocky Mountain High.
okay?
That would be my nickname.
Rocky Mountain High.
That's a nice nickname too.
I'm going to exist. I am physically going to be there.
Will you though?
I will physically be there, but I will be in the metaverse.
I bet.
In my mind. I heard that Colorado weed is better than California weed.
100%.
If that's true, I'm going to smoke a pound before I fucking leave. If you don't believe me, watch me go. It will be the first time I will ever be relevant on Instagram.
And then watch the documentary, The Last Salty Days.
The days of the last days of salt. You know, you can make it a fucking documentary with an English man who speaks over. And today he was going to the comedy club in Boulder, Colorado. But on the way, he stopped by one of those magic dispensaries with the brownies that take you to space. And he said, "Give me the dozen, you hobo-looking prick." And he bought $127 worth of magic brownies. At which point he walked into Serethfest. Sat down next to Be Real, who got there way too late. Because I Ubered him there. And if you don't get it, I am narrating my own story for the future. Because I am a fortune teller. A seer, perhaps, or an usurper. This is for my real joking friends. I'm going to talk like this on the podcast for the rest of my existence.
Fuck off. I can turn off your mic right now.
No. You will not. You will not.
So, yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're fine. They have really good green chili that they put. It's called the Slopper, and it's like an open face burger, and they put green chili on top. I think you'd really like it.
Sounds delicious.
I am sold already upon this idea of eating salsa verde and chili.
You know what? I'd rather have your God effect than this right now.
It is impossible. It is my natural voice now. I have grown in intellect in the course of this podcast by smoking Delta 8 from Daytona. From the smoke shop down the street that closes at 10, in Orlando, that would be called a crime.
And Colorado weed is better than California weed, and I know because like I smoked weed with Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw remake.
I was Leatherface this year for Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
I was one of the gentrified kids from the Texas documentary you guys just saw.
Oh. Well, I've never seen it. I don't have any of those streaming.
You don't need to worry. People died and I didn't, so I was successful.
Yeah.
That's good. But and then Colorado weed is just and mix it in with the altitude. Kaboom.
I like altitudes.
I like high.
There's Randy, the owner. Hey, Randy, how are you?
What's up, Randy?
We heard you met Phil. Was he a nice guy? Yes, he was.
Okay, he met Phil. And
Phil from nice. Pantera wasn't fucking around. He was a cool guy. Yeah. Usually musicians are. Do you know why? Because they care more about their electronics in front of them than they care about human interaction.
He was very, I even told him that. I've met multiple celebrities before. It's always kind of funny when you see the most hard and tough ass looking motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
The nicest, sweetest fucking guy I've ever fucking meet.
I was just at a place in Orlando called The Haven. And I saw a death metal band that had been performed. This was their 17th album. And I met them after the show, and I was like, "You guys might have looked intimidating once, but you guys do not look intimidated anymore. Holy shit! It was immolation." But the band before them realized that they had aged and put masks on like Slipknot, like they should have.
Oh,
Has you ever seen an aged death metal musician? It is not fucking pretty. It is not. They're like, like I'll beat you with a shoe kind of mentality. It's very odd. Very odd.
Corey Taylor was at the same convention that we were at, and he still looks great for being his age.
Well, he's rich as shit, so I bet he has the J-Lo, I'm going to get the best of everything phenon. He moisturizes, basically what I'm saying. By the way, you need to teach me what fucking moisturizing is. I have no idea. Someone made fun of me.
I don't crack.
Okay.
Same here. Asians don't raisin.
Asians don't raisin. I love that. That's the name of the episode. Asians don't raisin. Love it.
Oh, Randy, I got something for him too, but yeah, this is I learned
This has
that
been
from
enlightening.
something. I can't remember who said that. Maybe it was like Joe Coy or something, but I don't know. Whoever said that, I was like, it stuck with me because I'm almost 40 and I still look like this.
All jokes aside, it's sad that the only people that I can get compared to are B and C-list celebrities.
That's true. Well, who's the
Macaulay Culkin is at least a B-lister.
Oh yeah.
Tom Green is a D-lister.
Yeah.
Any of the pop stars who look like me are usually like transitioning, and I don't feel comfortable about that. And that's pretty much the three artists who represent my face.
I just got to shave and I look like The Rock.
Oh,
Now you look like Spanish Suge. Jesus Christ! When are you going to not? You literally dressed as Suge Knight one year for Halloween, didn't you?
No, I
You
didn't.
had a white shirt on and you intimidated people. You just drunk on a Friday.
That was drunk on a Friday.
Oh, my bad. Okay,
oh,
that was a good joke, guys. That was a good joke.
That was a good
Wow.
joke.
So we talked about the saddest, and I said my condolences to your two pals. And
Yeah.
what's your scariest?
Yeah. I have a longer career. You go ahead.
Scariest moment on the podcast.
Or podcast. You can say this could be an ultimate story. Go ahead.
No, I know
please.
which one it is. Previous co-host of mine. I thought she was going to tase the guest because he had made a comment about hooking up with with her mom and her mom's best friend, to the point where she got up from the desk. I mean, from the studio, walked out, and my guest is laughing, and I'm trying my best to like control the situation. I'm like, hey, no, so you got to calm down, bro. That's some crazy shit. And there was a break in the conversation, and you heard the taser go off.
Oh.
And we're like, what the fuck? Oh my! She comes in, bro, and I think she actually had a pocket knife as well. Like I thought she was either gonna stab him or tase him, and it got to the point where like I got everyone laughing a little bit and to calm down, and we didn't talk about each other's mother for the rest of the episode because
Jesus.
yeah, my co-host almost tased and stabbed a guest of ours.
Wow, that's bonkers.
And then what about you, Aaron?
Me and my entering the black hole boys, we were interviewing one of our co-host, our main host's friend from the past, and without any relevancy, this guy, he has like no bearing on society. He's just talking shit, on the podcast, and it gets annoying to the point of like, hey bro, and it starts digging into my fucking soul. He starts making fun of me being white while he's white. And it just got to the point where it wasn't funny for the value of what the show was.
Was it the guy that I'm thinking
you've
about?
never met him.
Okay,
I told you about this and you're like, you can't, I don't even know if you've ever heard the episode. It's so bad. We make it through like 3/4 of the episode, and just like this hysterical nonsense is happening around us. There's people coming and going through the studio, which is okay. And then like a huge bottle breaks. And then his friend, who has not been on the show for 30 minutes, hopped off 30 minutes before, jumps back on the mic, drunker and more insane than he was before. And he starts trying to push the other people who are in the podcast. I don't know how to say it any other way. He starts making an assault, a possibility of assault in the studio. He was about ready to start a fight, is basically what I was saying. But he was instigating to the point of where I got irritated. And this is where I got scared, because I've never had my blood boil. And this guy was annoying enough, like Larry, the cable guy. No, excuse me. Larry, what's the
Ron White?
No.
Jeff Foxworthy?
Pause. Jim Carrey, the cable guy. The cable guy movie, you guys know that one?
Yeah.
Where he's really awkward, really annoying, really indie. I said, if this guy doesn't get off the fucking mic, I'm going to throw him through the fucking window. And my friend goes, Aaron never freaks out over anything. And I was like, I am going to fucking get this fucking guy. You can hear it live on the podcast. It is the meanest thing I've ever said to him. I was like, I wish your mother aborted you. I was so mad. This guy was a piece of shit.
Oh.
Yeah, I just couldn't control my temper. It was the first time in my entire life I have had a 6-year-old.
Goodness.
That's it. I've had a 6-year-old, so I know how to tolerate bullshit. And this guy just kept... He said I was going to come and kill my family and shit. I was like, I'm going to fucking hurt you right now. You're not going to be able to make it to anywhere to get a weapon. It was seriously like one of the most frustrating moments because it was my fight. It was the moment that I was going to, and I was on a podcast, and then I would have been canceled on a podcast. Like, what a relevant way to not give a fuck about anything. I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah, we've had some scary moments. Like we went to a anti-vaxxer rally one time.
Oh my God.
Just for shits and giggles. We were like, do we go to the Puerto Rican festival or do we go to the anti-vax rally? We went to the anti-vax rally just for...
I told you to go to the Puerto Rican festival. I needed some food. I needed some food, man.
So yeah, some of our scariest moments we've had, and from that content, brings even more content and more entertainment.
Yeah,
I feel.
Yeah.
So we had saddest and scariest. And what was the other one that we did for the other one?
Think like happiest.
Yeah, I guess so. We'll go happiest.
Go happiest. Okay. Happiest moment was when I figured out how to podcast. The moment it clicked. You know what I mean? Where you figure out your gear, you figure out your mics, you understand what's going on. It has nothing to do with what the show is. When you know you can do it anytime and make it good, that's how you know you're good. That was my happiest moment, is that I can not own this. I can just pick this up and talk shit for as long as I can and make it entertaining and make it fruitful and enjoyable. And people will hang on the things that you say, wanting you to say more. If you don't have that, then that was what made me happiest, is that I could do that over and over again to the best of my abilities. That was honestly the happiest. I love Pat too, and that he asked me to join his show. But that was the moment when I realized that I had to grow as an artist. Wow, what a pretentious statement. Where I had to grow as an artist.
No, that's beautiful.
No, does that sound... It sounds, it sounds like a fucking shitty movie.
I applaud your growth. I'm happy for you.
It sounds too... Yeah, sorry. I'm an idiot.
Awesome.
So I got 2 moments.
Yeah.
Because
Super Dave, you secrets.
Okay, 3 moments. Okay. No, the first one, because this ties up with everything. The first one was making it for the first time, being nominated making it to the second round of voting for Orlando Weekly. As a first-year podcaster, getting that nomination was just like insane. And like our website being officially on the ballot and people voting for us was like, holy shit. And when I started seeing, our repost or retweet or just everything when it came to voting for our show, like we saw the numbers go up, we saw our downloads go up, we saw everything go up, and like I loved it. I loved everything, even though we didn't win. We lost to Tom and Dan 3 years in a row. It was still like a great moment to be nominated with like the people that you listen to, the people you admire, the people that like inspired me to get into podcasting. And second top favorite moment of happiest moment of podcasting was when I was at a party and my buddy was like, hey, come here. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, this is my friend so-and-so. This is Rocky from With a Side of Chaos. Oh my God, I love your show. I was like, what?
Nobody's done that for me.
No.
Not a single person. Like, get off Rocky's show. You bring down the morale of the people in the office there. And when you come in, you smell like gun.
Girl was like, oh my God, I listen to you guys all the time. I have you on my Spotify. I love it. And she showed me from the year before that it came up, because you know how Spotify does like the year in review. She showed me our podcast, like, in the top 5 of what she listened to all year. And I'm like, thank you so, like, I gave her a hug. We became buddies after that. And she's too afraid to come on the show because she's like, oh my God, I'm going to ruin it. I'm like, no, you're going to be amazing. And yeah, it was just, that little fan interaction. And then so many more after that. Like I wouldn't give this up for the world.
Most definitely. That's pretty awesome. Especially like when you have like fans that have you on like top listening and for the entire year. It's just, I've never had that, but one day, this is like barely like the 6th episode or something. So
this is really funny though.
Yeah, no,
you don't need any style. You could just talk, and the people will say the dumbest shit.
I talked about cocaine.
I learned that a long time ago. I used to have a podcast called The Salty Aaron Show. It has over 450 listeners of every single episode because they love the bait and switch I do. I interview people, and I wait them out. Our shows can be 3 to 4 hours long, but I will get some juicy content out of you. I will get a good fucking podcast out of everyone. I've talked to the worst people in the world at podcasting who don't even know how to use a microphone properly. And then eventually I can make them sound as good as the zealots that follow Alex Jones. It's just how you cut the episodes. But seriously, I've interviewed people and they tell me stuff. Just like, how when you tell your story, you go through the motions and everything. I'll do it out of order. I'll make you think about how your responses could be manipulated or changed. Because I know how the story you're going to tell me, but I don't want to know that story. I want to know everything else and why you got to that point. I've done that have I done it to you?
You have.
Maybe just in studio. I have worn men down. I have made them cowards. Some of the strongest people I have ever met eventually admit something they don't mean to. So really, it's just a bait and switch game, and I love it. And I can do it. That's why I'm good at this.
That's why I keep them around.
Heck yeah, that's pretty awesome.
When I have to compress it in 45 minutes, it's hard to get a good response, but we try.
We
try.
Indeed. And is the Salty Aaron podcast still?
It's coming out again sometime in the future. I need COVID to fucking back off.
Yeah.
The guests I want to do are on the road, and I can't go north right now because who knows which way the wind's going to change when I decide to get in my car. I was supposed to go to Austin, Texas, fucking October of last year, and I'm still hanging out here in Central Florida. So the winds have changed. Well, we'll see what happens. I made a flyer. I made a flyer, and people sent me about $5 in Cash App. It was him.
Wow.
Friends buy your dreams.
Yep. Most definitely. So how does one get you get sponsored and they sponsor your gear and stuff? Like, how do you get them to sponsor your gear and stuff and your podcast?
It's basically
honestly or funny. Which one do you want?
Both.
You want to do the funny?
You find someone. Okay. Well, honestly, you find someone who thinks you're as hilarious as you do, and they will believe your message. Whatever guides. What you need someone who shares the same vision for what you can do and how it helps them. That's what sponsorship is developing a good business relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be monetarily. Yeah, I said it right. Okay. And once you do that, you establish more than that. Sponsorships go for studios are paid for by sponsors and it's all kinds of stuff. Relationships, honestly, is sponsorship advice.
That's the honest.
You have a sponsor, the nOg.
Yeah. Oh. You don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there because you never know what opportunity you're going to miss if you don't at least try to turn that knob, open that door, and just walk right in. Victory favors the ones who have the courage to move forward.
Sareth, you could sponsor your own podcast with Sareth Fest.
I never do. I never get sponsors. I just save up and pay everyone.
Let's get you some sponsors for Colorado.
Sweet. That works.
We just have to freaking just put it out there.
Well, let's talk to some dispensaries out there.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
We have people who love to throw media content out the window.
Yeah.
Swag could be at every one of your patrons' hands. It just takes the right email to the wrong HR person who fucks up, and then you've got a whole event full of tiger's blood.
Yeah, Jack Daniels sponsored my chili for a cook-off one year.
Wow.
Just because I wrote an email. And it just depends on how you deliver. You have to believe in your content. to have others believe in you, because if you don't give a damn about your content, if you're not willing to listen to your shows 3 or 4 times afterwards, so you know what not to say the next episode and what to amplify for other episodes here and here forth, you have to love your art, because if you don't love it, no one else will.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And it's growing. The festival's growing. Like there's one in Daytona now. And that's why it's here. It's at the nOg. I try not to make it like Coachella, where it's like there's 5 stages going on at once, and your favorite 2 bands are playing at the same time, and you got to walk a football field to go see them. I'm like, not gonna do it on mine, and it's not gonna be $500 like at Coachella. It's gonna be either free or $5. And
don't be afraid to monetize yourself. That's one thing that you know your value and know your worth, because for the longest time, yeah, dude, I was doing shit for free. I was doing shit for free for the longest time. And you want to know who wasn't winning?
you.
I wasn't winning at all.
That you got to remember, though, Patricia, we're comedians. There's a different level of thought that goes into our industry that if you like, podcasting is different than comedy. Podcasting offers a lot more opportunity for marketing. I know that comedy gives you a lot of offerings, multiple of the same event going over and over again. But if you're looking at podcasting, creating stable relationships that are long lasting will get you further than most of the other things.
Yeah.
Obviously, networking is, I would say, is the most annoying but most absolute thing. You already know an index of people. He knows an index of people. That's one of the things that we did, is we looked at all the people that we could talk to, and we decided that we wanted high-profile targets that people would actually give a shit about.
Yeah.
Because if the content is not good enough for the people to want to listen to, then there's no money to be made. There is no fictional money. The money has to come from somewhere to get to your hands. And that's one of the hardest parts of any industry, and believing in yourself.
And here's the thing, like I don't do podcasting for the money.
I do it for the money and the bitches and the fame and the pussy that I am going to slay someday.
I don't do it for the money because I'm passionate about my art. Now, do I use this art form to put money in my pocket and make it beneficial for me? Yes, I do. Started the Chaos Network, charging for my expertise and my knowledge with producing other shows. I'm helping people get their ideas off the ground. Let's say, for example, you Johnny and Susie have an idea for a podcast. Okay, how do I make
Twins
a podcast?
for Tits? That's the name of the show.
How do I make
Twins
a
for
podcast?
Tits.
How do I distribute a podcast? How do I edit a podcast? How do we even record a podcast? I sit you down, I break it down for what you need, how you're going to do it, and we do a dry run. And from their point on, if you feel like you have something, if you could talk for an hour nonstop with your buddy and just have a great conversation and make it informative, entertaining, podcasting is an easy streak. Not everybody can do it. That's the God honest truth. And sometimes, you need that extra person to, get the conversation going, or you need that second or third mic to, bring the funny. I feel like Aaron and I have a great balance, because I feel that we can do all of it, but we have more fun when not the entire weight of the show is not on his shoulder or my shoulders. We bear it together.
We are able to do a lot of things that most people try to dream of, which is developing a rapport between a secondary person who can bounce off ideas and work with and be able to take the abuse of that person.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Absolutely. I am a brutal teammate. I am overly critical of absolutely everything. And that's just kind of, but I don't do anything, No, I'm just kidding.
But no, here's a secret. Sorry, Wildcat.
He's the marketer.
Here's the secret, Sareth. Find something that you have that other people don't. Make it available to them.
I make really good references to people. I make really good references of things that are outdated that people have to look up, but when they find, they get a good chuckle at 1 a.m. in the morning, stoned off their ass.
And I'm the person that you're able to live through vicariously, whether it's through Instagram, Snapchat, or Facebook. Anal. Fuck off. But I hope you get out there.
Most definitely. And more importantly, that I don't really want to get sponsored. I just want my friends to get sponsored. You know,
I get
like
it.
all the
Amen.
bands, all the comics. Like I want them to get like endorsed. That's why I created those 2 festivals. We created it together, like my hometown did. I just went out there, wrote articles, and I just took the knowledge from LA and did the podcast, Pueblo's Independent Multimedia Podcast, and it's an acronym PIMP, and it worked. And so,
That's beautiful.
I fucking
I
love
bet
it.
I bet you love sending your stuff for copyright sign-offs.
yeah,
You're like, this short pimp. You're like, oh man.
and it helped cause the fest. And I'm like, cool. So, yeah, it was where can the audience find you at home and all that.
So we keep it very simple. Luckily, the domain was available with a site of chaos.com all together. Right there, you'll find the links to our Apple, iHeart, Spotify, Google Play, Spreaker. You scroll down even more, you'll see our faces, and you'll be able to interact with us. I put my personal page out there for Facebook. I don't have a public or a celebrity style profile. Like, no, you want to be my friend? Okay, let's talk. Let's have a beer. Let's smoke. Let's have a smoke session, or let's do a fucking episode. I'm always down to meet new people because I'm always ready to go on an adventure.
Most definitely. So,
_salty Aaron. My life is a goddamn movie. Follow it. I'm serious. It is absolutely hilarious. You've seen it on Facebook, Sarath. That nothing is ever as it seems for me.
absolutely. And if you don't, and if you missed that part, it's already in the description box below on this YouTube video. And so just click for Jenny's, click for a side of, with a side of chaos.
With a side of chaos.
I just found chaos with a side of podcast.
Chaos with a side of podcast.
Awesome.
Find it on all your Twitter handlings and other wiggle things that go down for data dumps that will be sold for Ashley
Exactly.
Madison content later on.
I work pretty good on our SEO and our algorithms. So
Salty Aaron, just type my name in Google, baby. I know what I'm doing.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite things to say. Just type my name in Google, baby. I'm SEO relevant.
yeah, you Google with the side of chaos, we're popping up number 1.
Absolutely. And the nOg's information on Instagram and Facebook is there. Make sure to follow and like them as well. Running your final words out to the everyone at home.
Put your dog on a shorter leash. Those are my final words. What about you?
Live strange. Just weird. Just do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just fun.
Absolutely. Give it up for Huntress Thompson. Too weird to live and too rare to die. That's how I live my life. That's why I have Gonzo on here.
Amen, Sarath. Seriously.
Absolutely. Give it up for Jenny and with the side of chaos. And
You were about to say
podcast.
with a side of podcast.
Have a good evening, and we'll see you on the next episode with Tidbits and Marcus Alexander Bagwell, Buff Bagwell from WCW in May and April.
Nice, dude.
Have a good evening. See you later.
That was fantastic.